scheduled meeting of the Harlingen City Commission to order. It's been duly posted, and if you'll join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we give thanks for this wonderful city of Harlingen and all of its citizens and those who are concerned about making the lives of our citizens here in our community better. We thank you for this Easter season and the renewal, the spirit of renewal and the spirit of hope, the spirit of rebirth as we celebrate the coming the resurrection of Christ. We thank you, Lord, for the many gifts and blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We ask that you give us guidance and wisdom as we try to make good and right decisions for our community so that we can move our community forward in a positive manner for the best of all concerned. We ask this in your name. Amen. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for all of you for being here tonight. I'm glad to have everyone participate in our meeting. We have some first item on the agenda is public announcement of events. I'll ask Dave Brown to give us those upcoming events.
Good evening. The three events that I want to speak about a bit is Saturday on April 19th, we'll have the Spring Electronic Recycling Day. The same event was held in the fall, and this will be a rerun basically when they got plenty of electronic items, which when you go to dispose of them are highly toxic, and that'll be at the recycling center through the morning and I think into the early afternoon. Also on Saturday, Easter's going to come a little bit early to Harlingen, and there'll be the egg drop at Valley Praise from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. out at the sports complex on Wilson Road. And also Cinco de Mayo comes to Harlingen a little bit early from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, May 3rd. It'll be at Lieutenant George Gutierrez Jr. Park there in the La Placita district. There'll be a number of forms of live entertainment, including some cultural highlights, so we hope the public will show up for that event. And those are the main events. I also wanted to announce Harlingen Parks and Recreation has its new spring schedule out, and there are some excellent opportunities for participation, from yoga to ballroom dancing and many more. Also, next Tuesday, I believe, is Earth Day, and we'll have a special section that we're helping sponsor in the Valley Morning Star to reduce, reuse, and recycle, and Keep Harlingen Beautiful also has a sponsorship in that. They're helping promote educational tours at the recycling center so we can make our coming generations of Harlingen citizens more aware of how to take care of Mother Earth. Thank you.
David, I was going to ask you the next time you can bring that. We got a poster. We make a poster so you can.
Oh, sure.
Poster on that.
Okay, we'll get the poster up on the website too.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dave. Item 2 is the presentation of proclamations proclaiming May 2014 as Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Week, and May 4th through 10th is Drinking Water Week. And if Robert Warmbier, and anybody with your group, with the motorcycle group, come on up here, we'll present this proclamation.
Sure.
All right, well, let me go ahead and present the proclamation. Today's society is finding more citizens involved in motorcycling on the roads of our community. Whereas motorcyclists are roughly unprotected and much more likely to be injured or killed in an accident than other vehicle drivers. Whereas campaigns have helped inform riders and motorists on motorcycle safety issues to reduce motorcycle-related risks, injuries, and most of all, fatalities. Through a comprehensive approach to motorcycle safety, and whereas it is the responsibility of all to put themselves behind the wheel to become aware of motorcyclists, regarding them with the same respect as any other vehicle traveling the highways of our country. And whereas urging all citizens of our community to become aware of the inherent danger involved in operating a motorcycle and give the operator respect on the road they deserve, therefore I, Chris Boswell, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2014 as Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month, and urge all residents to hereby do their part to increase safety and awareness in our community. I want to thank you all for bringing this issue to us and to remind us to be safe on the highway.
Basically what it is a motorcycle. It's not quite as big as your caged vehicles. When you look off to the left, you may not see us the first time. Take a second look, and you might find us over there, so we're not in your side door or anything. Thank you very much for listening.
All right, thank you. Anybody else in the waterworks board here? Come on up. Or staff, come on up. Drinking water. Friends, water is our most valuable natural resource, and whereas only tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy, and whereas any measure of a successful society, low mortality rates, economic growth, and diversity, productivity, and public safety are in some way related to access to safe water. And whereas we're all stewards of the water infrastructure upon which future generations depend, and whereas each citizen of our community is called upon to help protect our source waters from pollution, to practice water conservation, to get involved in local water issues, therefore, I, Chris Boswell, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, hereby proclaim the week of May 4th through May 10th, 2014 as Drinking Water Week. Ask everyone to participate in recognizing that. Some of the commissioners, most of the commissioners and I were able to attend the event where we recognize the longevity of our folks who work at the Waterworks Department. It was a great event. We recognized a lot of people who worked for us for a long time, and there I reminded them that local government really is important, and one of the ways it's so important that it touches everyone's lives every day is they expect that water to turn on every morning, make the coffee and to take a shower, and they expect wastewater to work every day too. And it's those men and women who work for our Harlingen Waterworks Department who make that happen for us. They're out there in the rain and the sunshine and the hurricanes, making sure that we've got good drinking water, and they do a great job for us. And we think about the bargain that we get, that what we pay on our water bill to have the luxury of good water. And I want to congratulate again all the men and women who work for our Harlingen Waterworks and their great leadership on their board and their executive staff. So congratulations and thank you. Thank you.
Citizens of Harlingen Waterworks, Darrell Gunn and his staff, and all the employees that you don't see, but they keep the water running and the water flowing. Thank you.
Item 3 is board recognitions. We have some incoming board members. I'd like them all to come up at the same time. They will Kyle Rogero, Eric Z, Shane Allen. We want to recognize and thank Kyle for agreeing to serve on our tax input financing reinvestment zone. Eric, same board, and Shane has recently come on to our community development advisory board. So thank you all for agreeing to serve your community in these important These certificates to Commissioner Leftwich, who served on our tax estimate finance reinvestment center in our Harlingen Housing Finance Corporation. We thank him. Thank Fred McDonald for serving on our zoning board of adjustments, and Commissioner Pointed for serving on our tax reinvestment refinance center. Thank you all. Appreciate your service to our community. Thank you.
Speech. We haven't forgotten you all.
Okay, item 4 is the neighborhood clean sweep held on April 12, 2014 from North 26th to North 27th Street from East Harrison to include Wheeling Park, District 2.
This is District 2, and like the mayor said, it occurred on April 12th. This is some of the pictures of what was taken from the area. A total of approximately 3.44 tons of debris was taken. Here you see some of the tires. We took 61 tires from the area as well. We want to thank MMA and all the people that volunteered. We also want to thank Commissioner Uhorn because he was out there as well. And certainly want to thank the Code Enforcement Department for helping us accomplish this as well. The next one will be May the 10th, and it will be in the East Viston between Rose and First Street. So if there's anybody that wants to volunteer, they can contact our board division to do that.
All right.
And
We have some certificates, and I'll ask Commissioner Uhorn and the city manager to hand those out. Those who participated in this cleanup. You know, these are really important events for our community, and they demonstrate how important it is to provide service to our community in this fashion, because it really does so much to improve the appearance of our community, and that helps to encourage visitors and guests to come to our community, people to invest in our community, and families to stay in our community.
Well, before we hand these out, I'd like to say something about MMA. They were out there in full force to help us on Saturday, and that's not the only time that I see them. Almost every time that we have a community event that involves a cleanup or needs volunteers, they are always there, and they are a very important part of our community, and they're teaching these young men how important it is to be a part of the community and to help volunteer for things. And we certainly owe them a deep gratitude, not just for this past Saturday's event, but for lots of other Saturdays and other times that they've helped us. So it's a pleasure to have them and be a part of our community. And I've got these certificates. I know there were lots more of you guys that were out there. There were probably 15 or 20 people that were there. And believe me, it's handy to have them around because they can sling the tires and pick up all the heavy stuff, and it doesn't even affect them. They can keep going for a long, long time. So we're very, very grateful and glad you're here. And we've got these certificates, and I'll let you hand them out to everybody when they get there and get back.
Okay, thank you,
All
sir.
right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Item 5 is the approval of the April 2nd, 2014 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I just have a couple of quick changes or corrections. On page 6, we've got Megamorphosis Engineering and their architecture. I don't want to assign them an engineering title when they're not one. They might not appreciate that. And then on page 8, where we talked about within the past 2 years, the crime rate decreased 20%. I believe it was 20% each year.
Okay. Any other corrections or additions?
Well, which version are you looking at? There was two.
I looked at the corrected
At
version.
the corrected version, then I have no other additions or subtractions.
With those corrections, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. Next item is the consent agenda. Is item 6A and B. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move, Mayor. I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. All right, item 7 is a presentation of the comprehensive annual financial report for fiscal year 2012-2013 by Laura Shilton.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the commission. My name is Quentin Anderson with Long Chilton here in our Harlingen office, and we've worked with your personnel and your finance department in preparing this comprehensive annual financial report, which they're submitting to you. I'm here to help highlight some of the key financial information in the report. It's well over 330 pages, and I'll let you know that we met with the city's audit committee and reviewed the financial report. We've separately met with the airport board members and waterworks board members as well in presentation of their separate financial statements, which are included within this report. With that being said, I want to take you to page 25 in your big bound document and take a look at an important certificate that your personnel have received, your finance department receives, the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And that's an important document. That means that your finance department, your personnel are preparing a report that's reviewed and critiqued by the Government Finance Officers Association and found to be thorough and complete in its representation of a lot of financial information, but a whole lot of additional statistical information about the city and its relative component units. And so hats off to your personnel for that award. This financial statement includes, we've audited the basic financial statements of the primary government, that's the city and its governmental activities and business type activities. In addition, we've audited the discretely presented component units, which includes the Economic Development Corporation, Community Improvement Board, Harlingen Waterway System, and Valley International Report. And all of that, the information is included in this report for the primary government and in combination for the component units, and then separately presented financial statements for the component units. We've issued opinions on this information. If you turn to page 31 in your report, you can see the independent auditor's report. There's an unmodified opinion on your financial statements. It says that they fairly present your financial position and the changes in your financial position, the activities during the past fiscal year. And that's the type of audit opinion we want to receive. And we covered that in detail with your audit committee. Also, because you're a governmental entity and because you're the recipient of some significant federal awards, back in the back section of the report, there's some reports on compliance and controls over financial reporting. And those reports also, the report on compliance has an unmodified opinion that the city complied in all material respects with the federal grant program requirements that the city and its component units administered during the past fiscal year. So again, this is a comprehensive report. It includes not only financial information but also some compliance information. There's a section at page 317 entitled Schedule of Findings and Question Costs. There were no findings or question costs to be reported with respect to your grant compliance, and that's important for the city as a whole. In terms of financial highlights, quickly I have maybe 4 slides we might go to. In your bound report on page 53, you've got a statement of net position, which reflects the assets of the city. This is a picture of the primary government. It doesn't include the component units, but it shows what the city's assets have been in the past 5 years, liabilities and net position. Assets at the end of the fiscal period about 193 million, liabilities 61 million, and net position pretty comparable with net position of the prior year at 132 million dollars. In terms of just a quick look at revenues for the primary government, we've presented for you comparison from 2009 to 2013 and what your revenues have been each year for the governmental activities as well as your business type activities. And in your financial statements, you'll see that information on page 39. There's been a steady increase in terms of the governmental activities revenues for the year. A little bit different presentation of those revenues will show you revenues by source, and you can see your major source of revenues. Property taxes have grown from about $15 million back in 2009 to $17.6 million in 2013, and that growing with no change in your property tax rates over the past few years. So sales tax revenues grew from back in 2009 about $14 million to $15.8 million. Those are your primary sources of revenue. There's other sources including grants and charges for services, but that's a good recap over the past 5 years. Your statistical information includes some 10-year running history in the back of the report, and I encourage you to take a look at that. This chart shows the revenues for your business type activities for the primary government. Those are sanitation services, your golf course, museum, and municipal auditorium. And sanitation services being the majority of those other revenues from the city's business type activities. Just trying to look at expenditures in terms of what piece of the pie each of our different categories of expenditures make up. You can see, if you look in your report on page 54 for detail, these charts show about 52% of the city's expenditures are for public safety this year, about 50% the year before. And then there's other major categories for highways and streets and general government and health and welfare. And those numbers from a percentage standpoint are fairly comparable with the prior year. But public safety represents about 52% of the primary government's expenses. And business type activities, the biggest piece of the pie in your business type activities is sanitation services, which also had the largest source of revenues as well. I think this is an important statistic to look at. On page 58 in your report, you'll see some information about the city's general fund balance and how it has changed from, the page 58 will show you 2013 only, but the general fund balance has grown in this past year about $2.3 million from 13 million to nearly $15 million. Had a good increase of about $2 million from one year to the next. And you can see back in 2004 where the city's general fund balance has been. So that fund balance probably represents about 140 days or more of reserves, and would be a good position for the city to be in. I think that's probably the last chart I have. It's a comprehensive report, again, over 330 pages nearly, and we've met with your personnel, reviewed the report with the audit committee, and I'm pleased to give you a quick overview tonight.
Very good. Does the commission have any questions for Quentin? Well, every year at the State of the City address, I sort of take a leap of faith and report some unaudited numbers that Elvia gives me. And I'm proud to report that again this year, she didn't give me bad information. It all squared up pretty much with the audit and everything else we kind of report at that State of the City. A lot of that's taken directly from what Quentin puts in this audit report, including, as he said, that statistical section in the back, which I think shows some really impressive growth for the city in a lot of different areas. And I want to thank you all for the job you do. Also want to congratulate the city manager, staff, all the staff of the finance department for making sure that we are running our city in a financially sound manner, a fiscally responsible manner, and in a manner that we can be proud of, and a manner that we can be proud of how we report this information to the public. So, anything else?
That's it from us.
All right.
I think it's important too that this certificate of achievement for financial for excellence in financial reporting. They didn't just win that last year. They've won it like 20-plus years in
That's
a
right.
row.
The city's
Or
taken
been
pride.
awarded it,
Right.
rather.
Taking pride in ensuring that you devote the time and attention it takes to have a report that investors and bondholders would want to have in their possession to make a good evaluation of your financial condition. That's important to note. It's not, you didn't just receive that award. You've historically received that award.
All right, thank you very much. It's a good report. It's always good news about
Excuse me, Mayor. Could I ask that item 11 be considered to be moved up front in the agenda so that it can be discussed earlier, so some of the folks that are here can go ahead and get on with their evenings after the discussion?
All right, look, we're going to skip item 8. I'm told that we're not ready for item 8 tonight, so that'll be passed. Item
There's
11.
nobody here from the airport, is that correct? I don't see Mr., so there's no need to take that up right now. We can go on.
Right here on the item 10. Right here on item 10. All right, we'll go ahead and go to item 11, which is to consider and take action to approve an ordinance on first reading, amending sections of chapter 92 concerning smoking regulations of the Harlingen City Code, and providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing. I know that this ordinance has generated a lot of interest, and what we're going to do at this point is ask for Mayor to go ahead and kind of explain what the proposed changes to the ordinance are, and then I'm going to divide you into groups. Those of you who are for the proposal, those of you who are against the proposal. There are a lot of people who have signed up to speak at the public comment section. You'll get to speak now at this time. You don't have to wait until the public comment section at the end. But I would like to try to, we'll like to try to do this kind of in an organized fashion. So, Ramiro, go ahead and explain what the proposed ordinance would do to the existing ordinance.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, and City Manager. This amendment implements a 100% smoke-free environment, guaranteeing the right of non-smokers to breathe smoke-free air. Its intention is to protect the health, safety, and well-being of its citizens from secondhand smoke. The current ordinance does not guarantee the 100% smoke-free environment. Staff recommends approval as the ordinance is written, the proposed ordinance.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take up some discussion on this from the public at this time. And what I'd like to do is, how many of you who are in favor of the amendment would like to speak? Raise your hand so I get sort of an idea of how many people there are out there that would like to speak in favor of the ordinance. And then how many of you would like to speak against the ordinance? Raise your hand. Okay. Let's go ahead and start with whoever would like to speak first in favor of the ordinance. Anyone who would like to speak first in favor of the ordinance?
Come on, let's not be shy.
And all I ask you to do is state your name and your residence address.
Okay, my name is Ruthie Agers, and I live at 138 Palm Valley Drive West. And I want to talk about a little over 8 years ago, a previous commission made history for the health of the people of Harlingen when they were the first in the valley to pass a non-smoking ordinance. It wasn't the ordinance that was presented, it was changed. A lot of things have changed since then. We didn't know that secondhand smoke was so dangerous. I'm going with my best friend now fighting cancer. And secondhand smoke is every bit as dangerous as what smoking is. And who I feel sorry for are the people that have to work in the bars and the places where people smoke. People talk about rights and they say, I don't want the government to take my rights away. Where are their rights? So what we're here for today are we're worried about the people that are forced to work in the bars and the places, and we want to make sure that we offer the best health situation that we can for our people, and that's why I'm for changing this ordinance.
All right, thank you. We're gonna limit everybody to about 1 minute here, give or take, because we're about 20 or 30 people who raise their hands. Yes, sir. State your name and tell us where you live.
My name is Joshua Delgado. I live at 27460 South Baker Potts Road. And I'm with the Harlingen Smoke Busters. And of course, with this, we're given knowledge about all types of smoking, especially secondhand smoke, and how dangerous that can be. So, of course, we care for everybody in our community because we know that 995,000 people die from secondhand smoke, not the smokers. So we care very much for this, and we just want to say how much we support this. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'm Dr. Michael Evans. I'm a cardiologist, practiced here in the community for 26 years. My address is 2310 North Ed Carey Drive. I've been dealing with the results of secondhand smoke my entire career. I've got a more than 2-minute preparation here, but I'll cut it short. The people that work in the hospitality industry are exposed to secondhand smoke. 53,000 people are going to die from secondhand smoke in the country this year. In addition to the ones that die, more people are going to develop lung cancer, heart disease, strokes, respiratory problems, and it's of all the things I treat, cholesterol, blood pressure, diabetes, this is the most reversible and most benefit to the community that we can do. I can treat all the blood pressure I want, but if you pass this one ordinance, you will help more people in this community than I will in my practice. And I had more to say, but I'm just going to cut it short and leave it at that. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I want to congratulate you for wanting to have Harlingen a healthy place to live in. I'm Rachel Gomez. I live at 2810 Cypress Drive, and I'm very happy to live in Harlingen. I am a nurse, and I'm a volunteer with the American Cancer Society. In my nursing career, I have seen a lot of patients die from cancer. If any of you have ever seen one, you would sit here and say, no more, okay? We do have 53,000 people that die every year. If we can pass this ordinance, we at least cut it. I wish that you all would consider this. Make Harlingen a city we want to live in, and make us proud. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just come right on, yeah, come on up, just you don't have to wait to be called on.
Thank you very much. My name is Victoria Parada. I live in 5001 Bellino Drive, Harlingen, and I'm here as a physician and also as a volunteer for the American Heart Association. I probably have lived 10 years in Harlingen. This is not my hometown, but I have taken over 10 years care of stroke patients here in the community. And I would like to speak on behalf of my patients, my family, and my friends. And secondhand smoking is certainly a public and health safety issue. As a neurologist that I have lived through with my patients the pain of surviving a stroke, I can tell you firsthand that the statistics are true. Smoking in general remains the leading cause of preventable death in the United States, and it claims over 400,000 lives every year. Secondhand smoke is a health hazard and does kill over 53,000 new lives every year. And of those, at least 35,000 are related to death and complications due to heart disease and stroke. As a mother of a young child, I firmly believe the statistics that show that secondhand smoke damaged children and pregnant women. And just for you to know, as a members of the community, children will have a greater risk of developing respiratory diseases, bronchitis, asthma attacks, and increased sudden death in infants. It also will increase the risk for pregnant female to deliver low birth weight children. So on behalf of all this community and the patients that I have taken care, I firmly support that you pass this ordinance to create a healthier environment for the entire community. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead. Yeah, just come right up to save time, and you don't have to wait. You call on if you're in favor of it, and then we'll get to the other folks that want to.
Good evening. My name is Carmen Villegas. I am currently a prevention program coordinator with the Rio Grande Valley Council. We were fortunate enough to be able to open an office here in Harlingen, knowing the dangers and consequences of smoking and drug use and all of that sort. We are fortunate to have got funded to educate the community on the dangers and consequences of tobacco smoke and secondhand smoke. We do know that a cigarette does contain over 4,000 chemicals when smoked in, but also when exhaled. Those chemicals are being, other people around us are being breathing it. And those chemicals do cause not only cancers, but other health issues. And we are in support of this ordinance we want the community of Harlingen to help us as adults to educate. We're here educating our youth, but we would also like our adults to help us educate and lead by example and break that habit. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. My name is Erlinda Abantao. I'm a stroke coordinator working at a local hospital for the past 16 years. And I work with stroke patients on tobacco cessation and healthy lifestyle, and smoke-free environment are critical to the recovery process. I've seen how difficult it can be for patients to quit smoking, even when their life depends on it. They need all the help they can get. And being surrounded by smoke in public puts them at unnecessary risk for heart complications and impedes their smoking cessation progress. I urge you to take action to eliminate smoking in all public places, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of the ordinance? Yes. If you signed up on the roster to speak about this ordinance, you'll need to speak at this time. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. My name is Christine Donatello, and I'm with the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. I am their Field Government Relations Director. I wanted to commend you.
Tell us where you live.
I'm sorry, I live in Austin, Texas. I would like to commend you for deciding to. I'm sorry. Okay. I'd like to commend you for deciding to make the public health for your city a priority by strengthening your smoking ordinance. In a poll conducted by the American Cancer Society, 68% of Texans were in favor of a strong statewide law that would prohibit smoking in all indoor workplaces, including restaurants and bars, and only 14% of those were opposed to the state law. As you probably know, cigarette smoking contains more than 7,000 chemicals, and more than 70 are known or suspected to cause cancer. The Environment Protection Agency has classified secondhand smoke as a human carcinogen. Exposure to secondhand smoke has immediate adverse effects on cardiovascular systems and causes coronary and heart disease and lung cancer.
You have 30 seconds more, okay?
Okay, we know the science is there, but not only is it good for the health, it also is good for your community. There has been no study that shows that there have been negative effects when passing a smoking ordinance in their city. Most of the time it's a positive impact. I hope that you make, currently 8.2 million Texans are covered by a comprehensive smoke-free ordinance. And I hope that you will make the city of Harlingen, a part of that, those numbers, or increase those numbers. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's come on.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. My name is Christina Ortiz. I am here today on behalf of the American Heart Association and the hundreds of volunteers in the Harlingen area. Our organization supports the amendment to strengthen your smoke-free ordinance to cover all work sites, including bars. The issue at hand is offering people a safe environment in which to work, especially hospitality workers who are highly exposed to secondhand smoke on a daily basis, many of whom are under the age of 18 and many of whom who lack health insurance. While studies show that comprehensive smoke-free ordinances do not result in a negative impact, the issue is not about business. It's not about the right to smoke. The debate is about ensuring everyone's right to breathe smoke-free air, air that is free from carcinogens and toxins. We should all have the right to breathe smoke-free air and not force employees to choose between their health or a paycheck. I strongly ask that you vote to include all work sites in Harlingen's smoke-free ordinance, which will improve public health outcomes throughout the city. The science is clear. Secondhand smoke kills. It's in the public's best interest to be protected from environmental tobacco smoke. I appreciate your time and consideration in addressing this issue and hope you will protect the public from this health threat by enacting a comprehensive smoke-free workplace ordinance that covers all work sites, including bars. And there are 80 Harlingen constituents who support this ordinance as well, who couldn't be here to speak, and they've signed petitions, and I'd like to deliver these to you.
All right, please hand it to the city secretary.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's all calm down and just listen to what everybody has to say. And we can all be respectful of everybody's opinion. So if you need to behave, okay? Yes, sir.
My name is Charles Law, L-A-W. I live here in Harlingen out on Morris Road. I'm not going to give you my address because I don't want repercussions. I, by my own choice, was a smoker. By my own choice now, I am a non-smoker, okay? Basically due to a medical situation. But I don't think the ordinance goes far enough. Okay, as we drive around town, we see automobiles spewing all kinds of fumes and exhaust that are very detrimental to our bodies, not just smoking a cigarette. Okay, and we drive by barbecue houses that have wood burning, barbecuing. We buses running up and down town. Okay,
The 30 seconds more, sir.
so let's expand it. Let's just keep everybody at home. Let them have their choice if they want to go outside that screen door of their beautiful home and jeopardize themselves like I did today. I ventured out of my home, the comfort of it, to come here and express my viewpoint that I think we all ought to be confined to our homes, and we wouldn't have these problems with sickness.
So you weren't really in favor of the ordinance. Hang on a second, is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the ordinance?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners.
Now let me repeat. This is in favor of the ordinance.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes, in favor.
I want to be sure we were clear on that.
I'm on the right podium. My name is Belinda Reiniger. I'm a resident of Harlingen, living on Arcadia Street. I'm also a public health researcher based here in the Valley and doing research with the UT School of Public Health. Part of who I'm here representing tonight is a 155 strong member coalition of people from various walks of life, business, schools, clinics, health clinics, etc., who have for 10 years worked on a number of public health issues. One of our priorities includes tobacco-free living as an option. This organization has been around for 10 years and has been very committed and instrumental in helping other cities consider the same type of option. I want to point out that behavioral risk factor surveillance data, which is the largest telephone survey that's done in the country, shows that at most 16% at most of our population in the area smoke. And what that tells us is that more people are not smoking, and data also show that they would be more likely to eat out if there was a full ban of smoking in restaurants, that they would be more likely, 88% of them would be more likely to go to music clubs and bars, and 89% of our local population say that they would support this ordinance because it would protect people from secondhand smoke. I'm strongly supportive of your consideration of this ordinance, and I thank you for doing this as a resident of Harlingen.
All right, thank you very much.
Hello, City Commissioners, Mayor Boswell. My name is Michael Garza. I live at 1102 East Pierce, Harlingen. And I'd like to tell you that I'm very supportive of this amendment that you're adding to the proclamation. But I'd also like to ask that you educate not only the youth, but the people who are about to speak and the people who are against this. Because all they know is smoking. Smoking is an addiction. What it does to their brain is that's all they know. They just need to smoke. That's what they feel. They don't know what it does to their body. Only other people can tell them that. So I'd like to ask that you educate them and just the general public, like put up posters, little posters around saying, just give little facts and stuff, more or less. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Joel Romo, and I'm with the Smoke Free Texas Coalition, which is comprised of the American Heart Association, American Cancer Society, American Lung Association, the Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids, the Texas Medical Center, and the Live Strong Foundation. We are here to lend our support to this ordinance and let you know that we, as our organization, represents the thousands of volunteers throughout Harlingen and the South Texas area. This ordinance is not only about public health. This is going to reduce cardiovascular disease, cancer, lung disease, and other chronic diseases. It's also about economics. Tourism. Many communities in this state, over 35, have adopted an ordinance like this. Organizations, public health organizations, tourism organizations, some do not hold conferences and conventions in communities if they do not have smoke-free ordinances comprehensive in place. Many organizations look for venues to come to have their conferences. We applaud the efforts that have done in other communities like in South Texas that have adopted these ordinances. And the other thing, there's also, as has been mentioned earlier, there's plenty of science that demonstrates the benefits economically and public health-wise regarding these ordinances. This ordinance is written on evidence-based science. So what you're working on today, we applaud your efforts. There are science out there that demonstrates a reduction in these public health issues, and we ask that the ordinance be voted on and passed as written. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Anybody else in favor of the ordinance would like to speak?
Hello, my name is Mindy Taylor. I live at 910 East Alcott Avenue here in Harlingen. I am a resident of Harlingen. I am a teacher for HCISD, and I am the mother of a child that goes to Harlingen. And I was the daughter of a smoker. I lost my father 15 years ago. And on his deathbed, he apologized to us for putting us through. I have chronic asthma. I have allergies. I have severe sinus infections that I still deal with today from living with a smoker for 23 years. So all I've got to say is I'm speaking from the teenager side, the young adult side, that they have no control over it. Most of the young adults that I see smoking right now do it in a social environment at bars. If we took that away from them, they probably would never smoke. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? One more. If there is anybody else to speak for, we'll give one more speaker not, then we'll go to the other side of the coin and ask you to follow the same rules. If you want to speak against the ordinance, come forward.
My name is Yolanda Schaffet, and I refuse to give up my address due to the fact that I also fear for my life if I say something I shouldn't say. Number one, my name is Yolanda Schaffet, and I'm against it.
At least tell us the road you live on and the street and the city
284
and
Altas
the city
Palmas.
that you live in
284 Altas Palmas.
and the city that you live in.
Well, I guess it's Harlingen. I go through Harlingen to get here. Listen, you're wasting my time. I am very much against it. Let me tell you why. We have become a dictatorship. We have become a bunch of Gestapos. I have a choice. I have never smoked. I have never drank. I've had relatives and I've had people that have died from cancer, and it has nothing to do with smoking. You have a choice to go into that place of business. If they're eating there, they're drinking there, you have a choice. Let's educate our children not to smoke or drink or whatever, okay? You have a choice. This is America. You have to learn something by the Bundy case. If you haven't heard the Bundy case, go to Wyoming, where all the people got together to help this rancher who the government was taking their cows away due to the fact, is that what you want, violence? Everybody had guns. Put the women in the front. Is that what you want here in Harlingen? You have a choice. Leave us alone. Dictatorship is nothing but Gestapo type. Thank you.
You want to speak oppose the ordinance? Come on.
Oh, yeah,
you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. Just come right on up. State.
Okay.
But we do ask you to state your name,
Yes, sir.
where you live.
Yes, sir. My name is Stephen Fuyan. I live in Pinehurst, Treasure Hills. In fact, y'all got voicemails from me yesterday.
Just say the city.
All right.
Harlingen. Just say the city.
Let's not lose focus here. This is about adult venues. Is that? Am I correct in that?
Just say the city. I know the truth.
Harlingen. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I apologize. This is about adult venues. Is that correct? I mean, isn't that what we're talking about here? They're talking about a smoke-free environment for children. We're talking about adult venues. There shouldn't be anybody under 21 in them, for goodness sakes. Look, I'm just going to say this. Several years ago, y'all passed a city ordinance limiting the smoking to bars only, or not any longer in restaurants. Well, these people put up their money. They invested their money in property here in Harlingen. They employ people. People get choices. I'll try to make it brief, but here's the thing. Shouldn't the owner have a say in this? They pay the taxes. They employ people that pay taxes here, that buy homes here. I don't want to belittle anybody's losing a father or asthma or anything. Goodness gracious, that's not what we're asking. We're asking for a choice. We're all grown-ups, or most of us, and those that aren't get to make choices, but they get to make it based on what their parents teach them. And hopefully we're good enough parents that they make smart decisions, at least smarter than ours. I'll close by saying this.
Wrap it up so we
All
can
right.
give other people some time.
We believe in you. All right? Do us a favor. Believe in us. We can make our own decisions without you having to dictate our health policies to us. All right? Thank you all.
Good evening. My name is Howard Cavazos. I live at 4506 Hummingbird Lane South here in Harlingen. I'm a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. All our members, not all of them smoke, but the majority do. We went and fought a war. So to have the right to smoke if we want to have the right not to smoke if we don't want to. I had a lot of friends got killed in Vietnam. I was medevac in Vietnam on March 3rd, 1967. And I think that you should let veterans organizations choose themselves, have their members vote if they want smoking or not smoking in their post. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
55 Los Amigos, Palm Valley. I'm not speaking in opposition to the smoking law, but I am asking that you remove the electronic cigarettes from the smoking law. In 2009, a lawsuit was filed against the FDA by two electronic cigarette companies. The FDA confiscated their equipment. This went to trial. Judge Leon ruled that the FDA had shown no harm from electronic cigarettes. The companies won the lawsuit. They won the appeal by the FDA, and the FDA even asked for a ruling in bank, and they were denied. I've left with the council people information on electronic cigarettes and how they have helped people quit smoking. They're far more effective than any of the pharma products. Certainly, products like Chantix. I quit smoking 5 years ago, and I have not picked up a combustible cigarette since then. There is nothing, there are tests, and I can provide more documentation if you would like it. There are tests that show that there's nothing harmful in the vapor. There's that you are probably concerned about.
15 more seconds, okay?
I'm talking as fast as I can. Any other information I can provide, scientific studies to you, anything you want, but please don't remove the electronic cigarettes from. Do remove the electronic cigarettes from this smoking ban, because it will save lives.
All right, thank you.
Oh, excuse me, can I just say ban it for minors?
Yeah.
Mayor Boswell, City Commissioners, my name is Scott Thomas. I work for DFW Vapor. About a year ago, I stood before you guys and fought to open my store here in the city of Harlingen.
Need you to state your
my address is
address.
my address. I'm sorry, 2213 South 24th Street, Harlingen.
Thank you.
I have a shop here in Harlingen off of Business 77, 1106, right across from the Bicycle World, where all we do is specialize in electronic cigarettes. As your proposed changes to the ban are written, it would effectively put me out of business. By banning electronic cigarettes in all public places, and every place where cigarettes are banned, you prevent me from educating people on how to use the product inside my store. You prevent me from educating people how to quit smoking through a safer product. I emailed all of you earlier today with a study done by Drexel University in 2013 to the email addresses that are listed on the website for the city. It proves
30 seconds.
Okay, it proves that there's no first-hand or second-hand ill effects. The effects of the cigarette to anybody around somebody vaping or to the vapor are no more harmful than breathing regular air. I appreciate your time and consideration. I hope you would remove the electronic cigarette part of the ban. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Joe Rubio, 2309 Hacienda Road, Harlingen, Texas. I look at this city ordinance and it kind of scares me because whoever wrote it so broad that it can be interpreted different ways. I think y'all need to consider tabling this item tonight, really looking at this ordinance, including the gentleman that just spoke about electronic cigarette. But it says here, the purpose of the subchapter is to improve and protect the public's health by eliminating smoking in public places and all places of employment. That's too broad, folks. You're telling a bunch of businesses in Harlingen, you're dictating to them what they can and cannot do with their businesses. Your opening statement, your purpose of the city ordinance, this needs to be looked at in legal means. I'm against smoking. I don't like smoking. I quit smoking when I was 23 years old. I used to be a police officer, and I used to hate those police cars when we would go in. And I was the first one to say, please, if you're gonna drive my police car, let me change it with a smoker. So I've gone through the smoking phase. I quit smoking when I was 23 years old. But this city ordinance, as written, it's a bad deal for the city of Harlingen. This is a business and what you're basically doing is you're telling businesses how to work, you know, how to treat their customers. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Forward, state your name and your address, please.
My name is Brian Highskull. I live on West Buchanan Avenue here in Harlingen, Texas. As you can see by my shirt, I own a business here called Locals Lounge. I also own 2 other businesses. I am have a medical office here in Harlingen that provides neuro diagnostics to patients throughout the valley. I also in the process of opening up a restaurant, which obviously will be smoke-free. I spent 13 years in the United States Navy as a hospital corpsman. I was a smoker myself for nearly 20 years, and I've been smoke-free for 8 years now. That was a personal choice that I made, and it's all about personal choices, not about mandating what you can and can't do as an adult. Children, we need to teach our children. Children do not go to bars. The ordinance today is perfect. You can't smoke in public places, i.e. where children can be taken. If you have the choice and you have a problem with smoking in a bar, don't go to that bar. There are non-smoking bars in Harlingen, Texas that will be more than glad to accept you. Please consider tabling this item and really looking at it thoroughly.
Anyone else like to speak against the amendment to the ordinance?
He dropped his cigarette.
Well,
We have 2 chances.
now,
We have 2 chances.
Yes.
I give you
He
20
didn't
seconds.
finish.
Okay.
First of all, I don't think the commissioners took me seriously the first time I was up here. So, being a little on the schizophrenic side, okay? I'm not necessarily changing my views, other than we have people in all of our walks of lives and family members that have purposely joined our services to defend the freedom of liberty so that we can all have a voice and say in our own government.
All right.
And they're turning over in their graves now
Thank you
because you want to take the choices away
Thank you very much.
from all of the members
All right,
of
thank you very much, sir.
public.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we go again?
Mayor, Commission, that City Secretary Amanda can vouch that I put on my title Liberty, because I do think that that hones in on part of it. But honor, a constant refrain for a couple of you that should know better, and one that I think is absent that would adhere to that standard. Unlike some of the newcomers like Good Ruthie, back in the early 90s, Mayor Card, when there was a proposal like this, 2 weeks before the scientific evidence had come out showing how much I abhorred secondhand smoke, he said, we're not going to have scientific evidence. Fine. But y'all had a noble compromise. So that's the second thing I want you to say. You should be honoring some of the things that have been done in the past, like the sacrifice of the military. Because if you have over 50% food sales, that's where the smoking ordinance comes in. That's a noble compromise. I wish we didn't have any smoke whatsoever. But I really want you all that talk about nobility, that would like nobility, to think about your predecessors and what they had to go through to get to this particular compromise. I used to hate that word too, as some of you know how I feel about things, but compromise is not always a bad word. We've got a pretty decent thing right now. I think we should stay with it. Thank you.
All right. All right, I think that's everybody that wanted to speak, and so we'll close out the public portion of this and go back to the item. Would you read the caption?
Ordinance of the City of Harlingen, Texas, amending Chapter 92 Health Regulations in Hospitals of the Harlingen City Code, providing the savings clause, providing the severability clause, and ordaining other matters related to foregoing.
Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
I have one question. Just so that I can understand on the private, because the focus is on places of employment where we have people that work. But then when you go to, when I read it and I looked at the private clubs, it doesn't really, my question is more broader, like is the intent of this would be, let's say there's a private club, whatever club that is, but they don't necessarily employ people to work there, but they have their own volunteers that conduct their own affairs, and it's by membership, it's a private club. Is the intent of this ordinance would be to also regulate that, or, because everywhere else I've seen the definition is where people are employed. You understand my question? I'm just trying to find out what the intent was of that.
Well, I think the intent is to limit secondhand smoke, particularly on workers who may or may not have a choice as to where they work. They need a job. They work. And if they work in one of these venues, they're exposed to secondhand smoke, and so they really don't have a choice. They don't have a choice of whether they can enter that because if they need that job and that's the job they can get, then there's concern about secondhand smoke. So I think that's my understanding of the intent of it. I think you could also ask the American Heart Association, Cancer Association folks that are here, because they can probably provide a better explanation than I can. I did raise that issue. I talked to John Couch, who sent an email on behalf of the Health Association. He said, Elks Lodge. He said, I asked him the very same question. I said, are these all volunteers that work in your bar and area where they smoke? Or he said they do have 4 employees. They have 2 that work in the bar area. He says they're smokers, so it doesn't really affect them in that instance. But he does have people who are employed. I think we could ask the VFW folks whether they have the same situation or whether they have volunteers that work in the bar, and that might make a difference. But,
and when this came up, all of a sudden my email started flooding in, and I met with the health department. I was fortunate that they happened to have somebody in their office when I was talking with them from the city of Brownsville. And the city of Brownsville just went through this in 2012, and I have a copy of their ordinance. And when I saw what we had proposed, and I compared it to what Brownsville has in place today, and by the way, one comment they made is they're getting ready to release their 18-month report. And their 18-month report shows that business was not diminished by doing this. And so they have the financial numbers behind them to show what happened when they went from a smoking environment to non-smoking environment. But a couple things to address what you're talking about. Public, I was concerned about this private club thing. And in speaking with them, the difference between a private and a public club is, for example, the Elks Lodge has a private area where you have to have membership to get in. And so there, it's like being in your home. You're paying dues and you're going to a private area. But they also have a public area where they have their bingo. And so I did some research on Elks Lodges to find out what's going on in other Elks Lodges around the United States. And they're getting pinched the same way. They're saying, well, traditionally we've been smoking areas. And basically what they've done is they have a public area, which is smoke-free, and then they have their containered area for those special guests that are paying. And like what some of the folks have said, we can make a choice. But in that case, it's truly private because you and I can't just walk in. But the other thing I got concerned with is I was looking through here, I got a phone call from the hoteliers. And the way that the ordinance is written today, that we're supposed to vote on, is that every hotel in Harlingen would be 100% smoke-free. So once again, I went to the Brownsville, and in Brownsville, they allow 20% of the rooms to be held as smoking rooms, but there's some stipulations. Those rooms have to be all together in one section. They can't be scattered throughout the hotel, and they have to be sealed in such a way that the smoke doesn't get out to other areas of the hotel. The other thing that I didn't see it in there is I couldn't find anything about electronic, the e-cigarettes. But my question is how are we going to handle a tobacco shop? Traditionally, a tobacco shop, they have an area where you can go try out the cigar. And the way it is written today, I agree with the e-cigarette people. He's teaching people how to use this e-cigarette, and the way it's written, while you're in his store, you can't take a puff. And so, to me, that doesn't, but again, you can't go in a liquor store and take a sample of but they do sample liquor in liquor stores. They do.
I hear that you can do
Yes,
that.
they can. I will say I didn't know. So, I think, you know, the way it's written, I'm not in favor of voting on tonight unless we do some research. And I know traditionally we have 2 readings when we do this. And I spoke with staff this morning. I said, I'm going to express my concerns over the way it's written right now. And of course, they assured me that we can work on this for the next reading. My concern is it enough time to get all the kinks out? That's really my concern. I didn't expect to see 40 people stand here and give us both sides of the fence.
I got the ordinance on McAllen too, and they got several clubs. They got a special room so they can smoke, things like that. And I'm agree with Mr. Liano, the hotels. I mean, they order a room with smoking, and they're gonna say no because we got a new ordinance in Harlingen that you cannot smoke in the room. Where are they gonna go? I mean, we're gonna lose business and all.
Yeah, I will say that the hoteliers, I spoke with 2, and one says, I have what they're going to call their upper class hotel, and he says, we don't allow smoking in any of the rooms. But he says, I also own this other hotel, he says it's the economic hotels, and there we offer smoking. He says, most of it's because of the investment. They don't want their rooms subject to smoke in the nicer hotel. I hate to use the word nicer. They call it an exclusive hotel. I think that's what he called it. He had a name, a term for it. But basically he said, this type of hotel, we don't allow smoking. But in this type of hotel, we allow it. And a lot of it, he said, was because of wear and tear on the furniture. And he did say that part.
Well, to me, the essence of this gets to be, you know, the motivating factor is about the employees. And I agree with the smoke shop situation where they need to be able to demonstrate, so we may need to work on that a little bit. But to me, it's about the employees that work in the hotel, that work in the bar, that work wherever. And, you know, we can tweak this thing all we want and say they're going to be all volunteers that are going to work at whatever club, but we know that that's probably not going to happen. You know, this is an evolving process. It started 30 years ago, probably 50 years ago, with the first Surgeon General's report. And we've kind of moved down the road. Harlingen took the lead back 5 or 6 years ago and stepped out there. When I look at all of the cities around the state that have taken similar ordinances like this to ban smoking, I mean, for me, I would be proud to count my community among there. You can read study after study. There's studies from El Paso, there's studies from all around Dallas where they've enacted these ordinances, and they look at their sales tax revenue, liquor tax, all of those things, and those all continue to go up. You know, I've been in the room with Dr. Parada looking at an MRI of my mother's skull after she smoked for 50 years, and we're looking at the shrinkage that's gone on inside there while we're trying to deal with her dementia and other things like that. So there's no doubt, you know, and I grew up in that environment, and it's a sad thing. It's a very addictive. substance, and you know, I know that it's very, very difficult to quit, but we shouldn't have to subject people to the secondhand smoke. So however we do that to protect the ability of a smoke shop where the only reason you're going in there is to smoke or to demonstrate an e-cigarette, I'm happy to do that. But, you know, people in hospitals used to be able to smoke, they step outside now. People everywhere used to be able to smoke and they step outside. The bar patrons, you know, can probably do the same thing. It's all about protecting the health of the people that have to work there.
I was going to say, in their ordinances, is whereas in order to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the community and its orderly development, it is proposed and said that this ordinance, and so, I mean, they're concerned with the same thing. What I was going to suggest is that we take a look at the Brownsville ordinance and adopt something very similar to theirs as far as where we are allowed or not allowed to smoke. I agree. I mean, there was a gentleman that stood up here and said he was an ex-smoker. I'm an ex-smoker, and I know I had to make a health choice, very young, and so I made that choice. And so this isn't about my personal feelings, it's about what I observe. And I think that we're not trying to take anybody's rights away, but at the same time, we're allowing those people who have a choice of where they want to work, that they be given that opportunity to work wherever there is possible. It's protecting their rights.
And on the hotels, motels, when they rent the room, there's no workers in there. That's only the people that are going to stay in there and just smoking.
And like I said, the Brownsville provides for that. They provide 20% for the hotels. There is no by the way, there is no, I just took a quick peek at, there is no e-cigarette in their ordinance at all. Their ordinance defines smoke.
It's a little bit older, I believe, and this is kind of the new situation the e-cig deal is.
And I'm not saying I'm not against the banning of the e-cigarettes in public places. I just think that if we need to make a provision for a place like a tobacco shop or an e-cigarette shop, that they're allowed to at least demonstrate the wear of there.
You know, again, I think we're sort of echoing the same thing.
Yes,
but
we
just
are.
want to make sure we fine tune it on some of those areas. Overall, I'm in favor of this ordinance.
Right.
I think protecting the rights of people who choose to smoke is important, but also protecting the rights of those that don't want to be exposed to secondhand smoke, which would include employees. But within that, that's sort of what I was looking at when we define private clubs. Because if there is a situation where we truly have just a very exclusive group of people that all together have agreed to do what they do in the smoking area, I just want to make sure we at least provide some language in there so that would be provided without infringing on the rights of maybe somebody else.
You know, I was on the commission when the original non-smoking ordinance passed. I was the only city commissioner who voted against the ordinance, and had a very good reason for doing that. My mother would have killed me if I had voted in favor of it. Since then, I've had the experience of watching her suffer COPD until her death last month, and it was a very, painful thing to watch her, even after she quit, after 65 years of smoking, having to experience that loss of activity. She wasn't able to do a lot of things that she used to be able to do, simply because she could not catch her breath. Even walking 3 or 4 feet took it completely out of her. So when we passed the ordinance 8 years ago, everybody said the sky would fall. Well, the sky did not fall. Life went on. Business got good. Business got better. Our financial statistics have gotten better since that happened. I think it would be appropriate to look at a couple of these issues before second reading. The hotels, the e-cigarette, and the private clubs. At least look at options to consider whether we enact those or not, or change those or not. But we could ask the staff to do that. We could ask the staff to do, we could give them a month. We don't have to put this back on in 2 weeks. We can give them a month to come back, so there's plenty of time. But if we were to pass the ordinance tonight, that would give the staff direction that we want to at least move in this direction, go a little further than we have, and look at these other issues. And that would be what I would ask the commission to do tonight. So
I would like to make a motion that we adopt this ordinance, provided that staff, with advisement, takes a look at some of these issues that we have to get them ironed out. We have 2 cities for sure in the valley that we can look at, make sure that we haven't gone too far off the reservation. And that would be that we vote on it tonight, pass it tonight.
I'll second
That's
that.
my motion.
any other discussion?
Well, I would say that the thing that motivates me the most is that we have people that are in the smoking environments that are the non-smoking spouse or the non-smoking friend, that's where they're subjected. And the thing that hits home to me is that the smoker has the option of smoking in that situation. The other person that's sitting there doesn't have the option of not breathing. So,
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. All right, thank you very much. We're going to go to item 9, which is a public hearing to consider an ordinance on first reading to name a new street, Lodestar Avenue, located adjacent to Sun Valley Aviation Facility. Well, you could. Sun Valley Aviation
Oh, yeah. They went in there and demanded.
facility is generally located north of Woodall Avenue and west of Bob Euchre Street, the Applicants Valley International Airport.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. A subject private street was conducted to provide access to the northeast part of the airport. As you can see, this is the subject street. It's approximately 600 feet of length, 33 back-to-back. As you can see, it's located on the north of Woodall Avenue, just west of Bob Euchre Street. This is the subject street. The airport board at their March 17 meeting recommended to approve the street name to Lodestar Avenue. Public hearing was conducted by the P&Z Commission. Staff and P&Z Commission are recommending approval of the request.
A is a public hearing. Of the public hearing, would anyone like to speak for or against naming the street Lodestar?
Mayor, City Commission, San Rubio, 2309 Hacienda Road. I'm just curious what the word Lodestar Avenue is. I have no idea what it stands for. I think it's high time that we start looking into some names, and start choosing some wise names. A couple of years ago I asked for Cesar Chavez. We got some unique citizens here in Harlingen that we could name streets for, but it doesn't make sense. I've never heard the name Lodestar. I'd like for someone just to tell me what a Lodestar Avenue is, or just the last name of Lodestar. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak for or against the proposed ordinance?
Yolanda Schaffet, I was at that meeting, by the way, and I made a remark too, how they held the airport board hostage.
Ma'am,
They
I'm
just
gonna ask
walked
you
in
to
there.
Check your language, okay?
Huh?
You need to check your language.
No, what? I was there.
You said no curse words while we're talking.
The what?
No curse words.
I didn't use no curse word. I said I was there. I was there at the meeting when they held him hostage. He just went in there and said, I would like to be known as Lone Star. And I made the comment, why don't we name some prominent person's name? Barack Obama's name, Cesar Chavez, Rick, former mayor that died, Rodriguez. Why Lone Star? Lone Star what? What does it mean? I made the same comment there, and I didn't curse or say anything. I said I was there, and I was opposed to it, that they were held hostage. by saying, we want the name Lone Star Avenue.
Thank
And they
you.
said,
Thank
okay,
you. That's enough.
thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak for or against this proposed ordinance?
I want to see why they made the decision.
Well, the airport's the applicant. Do you want to explain
Sun Valley Aviation.
where the name of the street came from?
Sun Valley.
Are you referring to Lodestar? Is that the question? Lodestar is a type of airplane. It's made by Lockheed. It was used in World War II. Confederate Air Force had one based here for several years. The governor of Texas used to fly around in a Lodestar, and that's where the name comes from. It's an airplane. And since we're talking about the airport, and the street is only less than 500 feet long, so it's not going to be a major thoroughfare by any means at any time. In fact, there's only one business on that street right now, so it's pretty limited.
Okay. And that's the, all right. I'd like to read the ordinance, read the county. Thank you. Unless anybody's got any other questions, that answers the question where the name came from.
An ordinance of the city of Harlingen to name a new street, Lodestar Avenue, that is located adjacent to Sun Valley Aviation Facility and generally located north of Woodall Avenue and west of Bob Euchre Street, providing for publication or ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
Okay.
I'd make a motion that we approve.
My vote is no. I'm not agreeing with this.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have one nay. Motion carries. Item 10, public hearing to consider an ordinance on first reading for a specific use permit to allow an adult business gun shop in a general retail GR district located at 117 East Port Court, Suite 2, bearing a legal description of Lot 5, Block 1 of the East Port Center subdivision.
Mayor, Commissioners, the applicant is requesting a specific use permit to allow a gun shop at an existing approximately 1,200 square foot suite that's located on East Port Street. This is the subject street. You can see it's generally located north of Harrison Avenue or FM 106. This is the subject suite, which will be the unit number 2, which would be this suite here. There's 4 suites in this particular complex. All of them are currently vacant. Generally, the hours of operation for this particular business would be from Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The request was reviewed by the appropriate city departments. Neither of the departments had any objections to the request, subject to complying with the appropriate state permits. A public hearing was conducted by the P&Z Commission, and there was no concerns addressed at the meeting. Staff also notified the property owners within a 200-foot radius and didn't receive any objections to the proposed gun shop. Staff and P&Z Commission are recommending approval subject to the applicant providing and maintaining the required parking, obtaining his proper state and federal permits, and complying with requirements from the appropriate city departments. I'll take any questions on the item, and the applicant is also present for questions.
Okay, good. Item A is public hearing. I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone who'd like to speak for or against this proposed ordinance? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing.
I got a question on that. Are they gonna be shooting in there?
They're mainly going to be modifying, repairing, as well as selling guns. That particular suite, 1,200 square foot suite that's in this building here.
He's currently working out of his house, is that what I understood? And so
Right.
he's going to expand his workshop area and make a public retail area?
Correct.
Looked like it was mainly workspace.
Correct. This is a site plan when you submit it. Most of this is the workshop area, and then he's going to have a small retail space in this section here of the property, the building.
I noticed, just out of curiosity, I thought his hours were different than what you had said there when I read the information. It had like till 9 o'clock at night, or I guess that's just covering all the bases.
Right, actually, those hours were incorrect. So the correct hours are from Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
We have a chief mayor here. There's a question that I have. It's not really for him, but maybe he'll need to answer it. Are there any special restrictions that they have, like special alarms or anything? I mean, you know, he's kind of secluded back there. Is there anything that he's going to have special to insure himself?
By law, no, nothing that I...
Nothing by law, okay.
I would like to say something.
Well, we've already closed the
Well,
public
yeah,
hearing.
you closed it, but you opened it up when he spoke.
I got another question.
Because this is two businesses.
Joe will answer a question from the city commission.
This is two
City
businesses
commissioner,
you have.
anything else?
On that shooting is too close to the city and it's on 117 is Porco. It's in close to 499, Loop 499, right?
It is, it's, Loop 499 is right
Yes,
here. It's west of Loop 499.
But just for clarification, we're not talking about a shooting range.
Correct.
We're talking about a shop for retail sales and
Correct.
repair of
Right.
firearms.
And we used to have one on Business 77.
Right.
The intent is not to be discharging the weapon within that establishment, correct?
That's correct.
So I asked you, they're gonna shooting range in there.
And I said, no, I said
No,
they're not
no
going to.
shooting range. There's not a shooting range in there. Yeah, that was the question you asked. I don't think you answered it. There's no shooting range in the facility. Okay, can you read the caption, please?
An ordinance amending the zoning ordinance number 07-27, the city of Harlingen to issue specific use permit or to allow an adult business gun shop in general retail district located at 117 East Port Court, Suite 2, bearing a legal description of Lot 5, Block 1 of East Port Center subdivision, subject to 1, providing and maintaining the required off-street parking in accordance with the city regulations, obtaining and maintaining required state, federal permits for gun sales and repair, and 3, complying with the requirements administered by the planning and zoning and building inspections, environmental health, fire prevention, and police departments for publication and pervading other matters related to the foregoing.
Sure.
I move approval.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 12, consider to take action to approve an academic initiative between the City of Harlingen and the University of Texas Pan American to provide certain online degree programs at preferred tuition rates for city employees. Okay.
Mayor, members of the commission, the University of Texas Pan American approached the city about offering an online degree program to city employees. The programs offered would be a Master of Public Administration and a Master of Business Administration. The benefit to providing this to the employees is that, one, it would be completely online, so the employee wouldn't have to go to Edinburgh to take the classes. And 2, they were offered a reduced tuition rate. The Master for Business Administration normally runs $14,500, but they were offered to employees at $12,500. And Master for Public Administration normally costs $13,500, and it would be offered at a rate of $11,500. The true prerequisites would be that, 1, you have a bachelor's in any type of field, and that you have a GPA of 3.0. Now, this would not cost the employees, the city rather, a dime. It'd all be borne by the employees. And they have foreign partnerships already with cities of Brownsville, South Padre, McAllen, Edinburgh, and Hidalgo County. Staff recommends approval. Yes.
You have it written MPA, MPA, which one's which?
Right, I just covered that. The MBA is 14.5.
MBA.
The MBA, yes, and the MPA is 13.5 under normal circumstances. But if we approve this, and the employees that take advantage of the class would be offered a $2,000 discount.
Okay. Is there a motion to, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? I think this is a great program for our employees. It's just fantastic. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. I'm going to pass item 13. I'm waiting for somebody to get back to me on a response to serve. Item 14, board appointments.
None here. None.
All right.
None.
Hearing none, we're going to go to item 15, which is an executive closed session on the following items: attorney consultation pursuant to subchapter 551, 1, regarding the city commission's rights to issue an SUP regarding a recycling center. B, sections 551.087 and 071 regarding commercial and financial information from a business prospect of the city conducting economic development negotiations or to discuss financial or other incentives with business prospects known as Project Blue and Project DPC. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved, Mayor.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the city commission is going to go into executive session in the back of the room and talk about some items with their attorney and also discuss some other executive session items. There will be two potential action items, 16 and 17, after we reconvene in open session. All right, we're out of executive session at 8 p.m. Go to item 16, which is to consider and take action to approve an ordinance on first reading for a specific use permit to allow recycling center ferrous metal in the light industry district located at 5001 East Harrison, bearing legal description of Lot 1, Block 1, Funk Seat subdivision, applicant Francisco Garcia, care of Union Steel. Ask the city attorney to read the ordinance caption.
An ordinance amending the zoning ordinance, ordinance number 07-27, the city of Harlingen to issue specific use permit to allow recycling center ferrous metal in the light industry zoning district located at 5001 East Harrison Avenue, bearing a legal description of Lot 1, Block 1, Funk Seed subdivision, with the following conditions: 1, providing and maintaining the required off-street parking in accordance with the city regulations, 2, providing and maintaining an 8-foot solid fence around the 7 acres housing the facilities and all recyclables, 3, providing and maintaining a 5-foot landscaping buffer along the property line between the soccer complex and along Harrison Avenue, including 2-inch caliber trees and dense shrubs with appropriate irrigation, to which a landscaping plan must be submitted for approval to the planning and zoning department. 4, only stacking recyclables within the 7-acre fenced area up to the height, 8-foot height fence and no higher. 5, submitting detailed construction plans, drainage, extension calculations, details for pavement design, and detailed site plan. 6, completing an asbestos survey report prior to any disturbance of existing building materials. 7, providing an approved stormwater prevention plan, proof of a contract for the disposal of used oil and fuel, and obtaining the proper TCEQ permits. 8, obtaining the proper permits under Chapter 122 through the Chief of Police. 9, and compliance with the requirements administered by planning and zoning, building inspections, environmental health, fire prevention, and police departments, providing for publication or ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
I'm making a motion to approve this recycle center.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. Item 17, consider take action to confirm and approve the recommendation of the Harlingen Community Improvement Board to employ a consultant to assist the city in evaluating proposals for a public-private partnership on a hotel and conference center, including an evaluation of the appropriate and optimal size for a conference center meeting facility to authorize the city manager to negotiate a contract. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation of the Community Improvement Board?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 18, citizen communication. Was there anything?
No, Mayor, everything was on.
Everyone spoke. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our meeting for tonight. Thank you for being here.
Get to speak? Don't want to hear anything on 16, huh? I want to talk.